Welcome to the Eclectic Gamers Podcast. This is Sunday, August 28th. It's episode 16. I'm Tony.
And I'm Dennis.
And we're joined by a guest host this week, Mr. Jack Danger. How you doing?
Hey, I'm awesome. How the hell are you guys? Oh,
we're doing pretty good.
Say that?
Yeah, no, that's okay. That's
Excellent.
okay.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Anything too severe, I'll clean up in post. But for those that don't know... Oh, sorry.
No, go for it, man. Go for it.
Oh, sure. I was just going to say, for those that don't know you, Jack, I was just going to mention that you are the host of Dead Flip on Twitch, the #1 pinball streaming service. And also you are a co-host of THRU, a podcast dedicated to competitive pinball.
Absolutely. And all sorts of like other fun little tidbits of information, but we try to keep it on pinball for sure.
Yeah, so what we're going to do is actually, for those that are going through the show notes, at the top of the links section, we have links for both your Twitch feed at Deadflip and the link to Podcast Garden at THRU, so people will be able to go and check you guys out and hear what you have to say, because it's probably far more interesting than what Tony and I are going to do.
Yeah, dude, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. You'll all be disappointed, I promise.
No, I actually, you're my favorite competitive pinball podcast. So
yeah, same here.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, it's really cool. And I do try and catch your Twitch stream a lot. You're usually streaming every weekday.
It's Monday through Friday. Sometime today's Sunday. We're going to be streaming today. It's generally whenever I'm in the office. But I try to do it Monday through Friday for sure. The podcast is a little more sporadic. It's really hard to get 3 hosts together at one time to do something. It's a real big pain in the ass. But yeah, it's just a pain. But yeah, it's
yeah. Well, I mean, just arranging this and when the last episode where we had a guest host. Yeah, I see every time you add a person, that coordination is like exponentially more and more difficult.
Yeah, absolutely.
So anyway, we normally start with a sort of an intro where people can talk about just sort of what's been going on. So you're free to do that, or if you want to talk about your shows or anything, this is the time to do so before we actually dive into the main meat of our topical discussions.
Oh, geez. Well, I stream pinball Monday through Friday. Sometimes we play digital pinball on my show. Lately, what we've been doing is someone gifted us a Stern Stars, which is an amazing gift, like crazy, crazy good. It's an early Stern pinball machine from about 1978, I think. And I don't have any real experience shopping games out. So what I did is I was like, you know what? We're going to clean this thing up. We're going to do it live. And we fired up the cameras, tore the thing apart, cleaned it up, put it back together. I did some soldering for the first time ever live on camera, which was terrifying. I had a lot of people telling me I was doing a lot of things wrong. Had a lot of people telling me I was doing a lot of things right. And I, just come to find out everyone has their own way of doing things, and usually if you don't do it the way the internet says, you are going to get screamed at. But it worked out pretty well. The game fired up first try, and it plays amazing, and couldn't be happier with this new addition to our little arcade we have here in the studio.
Awesome.
Now, Stars, it's a solid state game, though, if I recall. Early, but...
It's a solid state game, but here's the kicker. It's a solid state game with chimes, which is mind-blowing. And the chimes are hooked to the spinners, which is the most amazing idea anyone has ever had in pinball. It's phenomenal. Yeah, it's a beautiful game too. And I also have a Stern Stargazer right next to it, which is another game that's just spinner heavy, super amazing. Pretty hard to find actually, but yeah, we have a really nice collection of games here.
Oh yeah, I tried Stargazer at the Texas Pinball Festival. It was a lot of fun.
Oh man, that game just when you juice up that spinner and you hit it, it's an out of body experience.
Yeah, that one's got a lot of those. It's got like those 3 drop target banks, if I recall, as well.
Oh, yeah.
Really unique layout. A lot of reliance on the pop bumpers up at the top to be able to score those in. If I'm thinking of the right one.
Yeah, absolutely. And just all around the perimeter of the whole game are just touch targets everywhere, and those are the Zodiac symbols you got to collect to like raise your bonus up.
We did there was someone in the area a couple of months ago who was trying to sell us Stars. I remember he contacted me because he wanted to see about doing a trade. I was trying to get rid of a Xenon at the time. But unfortunately, he wanted the power transformer from the game in something else he was selling, so it wasn't going to actually come working because he was going to pull out a key component. And I was
he was going to dissect it and Frankenstein it and sell you the rest of the
yeah, he had another game of the same era, and it was worth more working than Stars was. So it was like he would. So he's like, well, I want to, I was like, well, to me, it's not a 1-for-1 trade at that point.
Yeah, because it's not a working machine.
Yeah, no, I've only ever taken one non-working machine, and I'm not doing that anymore, I don't think.
Rock and roll.
Was that your scoreboard?
It was. Nice. I did. I just, I finally sold it, so.
Yeah, the cool thing about the Twitch show that I do is it started off with me just using one of my buddy's pinball machines. But it has now grown into people that watch my show send me their games, and they live here. I take care of them. I stream them, and when they want them back or I'm done with them, we just, send them on their way. Or more recently, people have just been buying machines that are local to my area, sending them here, and they're like, yo, if you could fix this up, it's yours. Just play the thing. It's cool. A very amazing glorified pinball babysitter job, but it's a good place to be for sure.
Oh yeah, great way to get a variety there without having to buy them all, which adds up quickly.
We also have Stern very close, and they are more than happy to drop games off for me to show off on the internet.
Yeah, I did. I watched your when you got to do the reveal of the Ghostbusters LE gameplay. I saw that. Oh, yeah. I was able to catch that. I tried to catch your dominoes, but I got home too late, I guess, because when I got on, you guys were already done broadcasting. I was ever so sad.
Yeah, it was a short stream. It was about an hour and a half, but that show that day got 30,000 eyeballs on it.
Oh, whoa!
Yeah, for an hour's worth of work, I had 30,000 people watch me drink beer and show off a Domino's Pizza pinball machine. It was
that sounds like a terrible gig right there. I don't know how you can handle that. I mean,
it's awful, man.
I have to admit I've always been pretty impressed. You do a good job of interacting with the stream while still playing, because I've seen a lot of people, even just playing games, who will get so far into it that their stream interaction just completely drops off.
Right.
And I've never really noticed that with you.
Well, it's coming up on 2 years of practice is what it is. Yeah. And the end of September will be my second full year of streaming Monday through Friday. So I've had a lot of time to work on that.
Get to the point where you can see out of the corner of your eye and keep things going and still actually pay attention.
Yeah, my peripheral vision has increased over the years.
Well, we'll try and get you at least another 30 eyeballs with your participation here. So,
let's do it.
All right, Tony. So, what's going on with you?
I have been really busy at work and working around the house. My youngest birthday was yesterday, so we had to get everything cleaned up for all the family and everybody coming over, and for her special day. And other than that, I've been reading. I'm still reading in the Wheel of Time. I'm up to book 6, and I'm now cheating because I'm purchasing all the books from Audible, and I already had the books from Amazon, and they've got this service now where they link up, so I can be reading the book on my Kindle, close my Kindle, set it down, fire up the Audible app on my phone, and it picks up at the exact spot I was reading. So I can be sitting at home reading my book, put it down, get in the car to go to work, hit play on Audible.
What?
And
That's insane.
I know, it's insane. And I'll sit there when I'm at work and I'm doing this and that, or I'm doing stuff, I'll listen to what I'm reading. And then, at lunch or when I'm at home or whatever, I'll read it. And it just picks up instantly. You open it up and it says, last heard section was blah, 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 blah on your Kindle at this time. Do you want to jump there? Yes. Play. There you go. Whoa, it's awesome.
That is amazing.
It sounds like cheating, and I don't approve of this.
It is. It is awesome, but it's so much because it's fun. Because I'll just sit here, I'll be reading in the morning or just before going to work, and then I'll just play, and I'll listen to it. It picks right up where I was reading when I head into work.
Oh, audiobooks aren't cheating.
Only the sync up thing. I'm a big fan of audiobooks. I've listened to a lot for my commute. But I don't cheat. And then go to the real book and be like, hey, why don't you just sync things up for me because I need to be cheating. I'm just saying it's okay. I'm not judging. I'm just.
I said I was cheating.
Calling you a cheater.
I said I was cheating. It is wonderful. It's amazing. I read about it and I tried it out, and it's like, oh man, I don't know if I could ever buy just a book without the audiobook again, because it's so nice. Because you get to you're in a really good scene, and it's like, well, crap, I have to drive somewhere, or I have to go do something,
right.
and I don't want to stop read. Oh wait, that's fine. I'll go grocery shopping.
Gotta
and still
hop in the
listen to my
shower,
book.
or whatever you're trying to do.
It's been pretty amazing. I like it.
Huh.
The only other big thing I've done lately is last weekend, me and Dennis took part in a memorial tournament for one of our local pinballers who passed back in July, and it was a really good turnout. And
that's awesome. That's really awesome. That's awesome that you had like a memorial tournament too. That's a really cool way to like show your.
Oh yeah, he was a great guy. He was actually one of my coworkers, and we. I played pinball, and he played pinball like in the 80s.
Oh, nice.
His name was Daniel, and he'd played pinball like in the 80s and stuff. And I was talking about going to these tournaments, and he started coming to tournaments, and it was great and this and that. It was a great turnout, and it was a wonderful tournament, and he's definitely somebody we're all going to miss a lot. He was a great guy.
Great. That's great, man. I like hearing that kind of stuff. That's pretty awesome.
I mean, that's about all I've been doing the last 2 weeks. Is nothing big and important.
Well, at least you learned how to cheat at reading. So I
learned to cheat at reading.
You'll never live it down.
I'm sure the listeners will probably cheat too, and maybe I will eventually, but I won't admit it.
Yeah.
Well, for me, let's see. I guess first I need to announce a correction from the last episode. Always a fun thing. So thanks to Eric for contacting me about this. But during last episode's discussion on the Xbox One S, I said a word souk, which is not a word. What I meant to say was SKU for stock keeping unit. And so I flipped two of the letters while I was going. I knew I made this mistake by the time I was editing in post, but I thought no one would dare notice it. So I left it alone, and I was wrong. So now I get to admit that I was wrong publicly and acknowledge the mistake. So it should have been SKU. When we were talking about the different models that are available, they're different SKU units or different SKUs.
So now you've got Souk and Deus Ex Machina.
You call it Deus Ex?
No, I said Dieu, like Hot Shots Part Dieu. I said it. Yes, I said it like a completely differently spelled French word instead of a Latin phrase. So yes. Deus.
Just the number 2.
Yes, that was Dawn caught me on that one, on Deus Ex. So I'm still working through my History of Rome podcast and in penance of that. I'm all the way up to the 3rd century where the Roman Empire was starting to initially fall apart. But no one listening probably cares about that, so we will not. Right. We will not go into it.
Fantastic. I don't know that I know much about that at all.
So let's see, what else? Another announcement for everyone. Podcast audio hosting is now with SoundCloud. Our previous host was discontinuing services. Transition went pretty seamless, and it looks like everything's working to me. So no one probably noticed beyond maybe a couple of hours that day while I was moving all the audio files over. Been fairly busy at work. Went out to Hays, Kansas this week. There are no pins in Hays, Kansas. I asked. Apparently they don't exist.
Why'd you go?
There's nothing in Hays.
They made me. I normally get out of. We always every year there's a governing board meeting that happens somewhere away from the capital, and it's usually in a rural area. And I usually do not have to go. However, I couldn't get out of being on the agenda, and so I had to go out there. The whole itinerary was really lackluster. They were talking about being a regional hub and all that, and the whole time I'm sitting there thinking, how can you be a regional power if you don't have pinball? It doesn't make any sense to me. So I just felt that they were lying.
It's true.
That they were just lying to me. So anyway, that was pretty uneventful. It gave me an opportunity to start a new book called The Gemini Effect by Chuck Grossart. It's sort of a near future sci-fi horror. I won't. Right. I'm sure I could cheat and listen/read it, but I'm not. I've been watching a show that I never saw, but it's been off the air for a few years now, called Breaking Bad. So,
I didn't really watch a lot of that. I know my friends would come together and like watch it every single week, and I would just show up to like get drunk with them, but wasn't really too interested in the show. But I've seen a few episodes. It looks interesting. I got to go back. I'm just not a fan of like catching up on TV shows.
Yeah, it's been so. I'm just sort of going straight through on it. It has some approaches to it that I don't care for. I mean, I started watching it because someone asked me about it, and I was like, I don't know anything about it. Let me go ahead and watch it. And it's like it's good. I wouldn't put it like West Wing good or Game of Thrones good.
Yeah, right on.
I think Breaking Bad's weakest episode is stronger than a lot of shows' average episodes. So I mean, it's got a really solid writing core. It's definitely a good show that way.
After Lost, I sort of gave up on TV show love because I got my heart broke, man. Like this.
Oh, Lost can do that to you. I surrendered. Like season 3 of Lost, I was decided, you know what, this isn't worth my time.
I hung on, man. I tried to make that relationship work. It did not pan out.
Yeah, the Lost ending was pretty bad. I would say the Battlestar Galactica was even worse, though. I just felt that, much like Lost, they kind of lost their way. No, well, pun somewhat intended, but it just didn't work out for me, and they were...
Oh, fair enough. Yeah. Yeah, I think I only watched the first half of Battlestar Galactica, and it was good when it started off, man.
That was the good half. That was definitely the good half of that show.
I
mean, there was that one season where they like blew their entire special effects budget in like the second episode, and then the rest of the season was courtroom drama. And I didn't realize I was watching Battlestar Galactica SVU.
SVU.
It's still on the air. They're up to like season 19. Yeah, it might not be that high, but it's like 18 or 17.
Oh yeah, that Law and Order, the first one was on for freaking ever.
Then finally at the benefit tournament, I qualified for B Division, ended up taking 15th place. It was interesting. First time I ever actually qualified in any of these sort of tournaments.
It was an unlimited herb style, but the reason we did it was done that way was because all the money was going to the family.
Now see, that's awesome. That's why it does make a lot of money. It does make a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's just if it's just like a tournament for players doing some thing, man, that style can go flush itself.
Yeah, I've never bought. Every time I've played an herb style tournament, I'll just do like a playthrough and maybe touch up one or two machines and let it go because I'm not willing to dump it. Where for like this, since it was a memorial tournament, I had a set amount that I took that was fairly large.
That's awesome. Like you would have donated all that money anyway, so you
exactly
might have some fun with it too. Yeah.
Well, with our introductions out of the way, let's go ahead and move to the first of our 3 main topics of the podcast, and that would be pinball. And since we have Jack on, I figured we should actually start with some competitive pinball talk, which is something that Tony and I don't really do much of other than when we give our intros, actually, because we're not any good. We're not a master champion player.
No one's a master champion player except for the robots in like top A division.
Yeah. So hey,
they're not human, so it doesn't matter.
Hey, didn't you qualify for A at Pinburg?
I did. I qualified for A finals, and I even survived a round in A finals.
Nice.
So you are a robot.
I'm
then,
part
is what
robot
you're saying.
now. If this was Battlestar Galactica, you might be concerned that I was a Cylon.
I am. I do think that you may be a toaster. So anyway, what I thought would be a fun topic in the realm of competitiveness would be to talk about when it comes to competitive pinball, what tournament formats, be it the qualifying format or the finals or any aspect you want, that you enjoy the most, and what formats do you think are the worst?
Well, I'll tell you right up front. Unlimited herb style and single elimination are two things that need to just go away.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
unless you're raising money, because the unlimited herb style for raising cash for good causes is an amazing idea. Because people do want to dump money into those things. It's just some people I know. When I go to unlimited herb styles, I just see a lot of people are like, I can't compete anymore. I just don't have the cash. But you could say, play better, and you won't have to dump that cash. But when it comes down to that, you can play really good on your one ticket, and then someone else can come back, play 9 tickets, and eventually pass you. I don't know. I'm just not a big fan. And also, single elimination is just a huge waste of time. People driving out to a place, playing one game, getting kicked out, going home.
Yeah, and I feel the same way on both of those. I haven't played in any single elimination tournaments. I don't think I would go to a tournament if I knew it was single elimination unless it was like down the street.
Right.
And Herb sounds fine, so I mean, Herb happens and I go to it, but like I said earlier, except for special things like the Memorial Tournament, I just go with, I'd literally take enough money to do one full run and then buck up a couple tables, and that's it. That's all I'm willing to do. I don't... When at the Memorial Tournament, I put in a joke score on Attack from Mars. I mean, like 150,000 on Attack from Mars.
Oh,
it was like impossibly stupid straight drains of everything and hit nothing. It was terrible. And I mean, that's I hit one thing, and then I bucked it up and I knocked it up to 4.3 bill, and that score stood as the number 2 score for like half the night. And then I got knocked down to like number 6 as people just kept going back and hitting it again.
There's also, like, with the unlimited Herb style, there's what, I don't know what the official term for this is, but sniping, if you will. And let's say you're there with your friends. You and your buddy are playing, so I'm playing pinball. I do really well. I know I'm going to qualify. My buddy's really close to qualifying, but there's a few scores that are like screwing him up on games that people have. So what you do is you go and knock these other people down with some extra money to let your buddy like move forward. It's some sneaky, shady stuff, but it happens. And it just, the ability to keep buying in to like play games that wouldn't affect your game but will help some other people is a little goofy.
Yeah, I don't know. I've not talked to anybody who's really a fan of Herb style at all.
Yeah, right.
Except for like the people who are the solid, amazing tryhards who are always on top of everything and they're always at the top and get all the money. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get there one day.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm definitely not a fan of unlimited Herb for qualification. In terms of what I like, strikeout system, I like that with the 4-player teams and bottom 2 take a strike. I like that because it emphasizes, I think more so than head-to-head, the tactical play where, okay, maybe I'm in first and I think I can hold it, or maybe I know I can't do first place, but I think I could get second if I go for some risky shots.
Yeah, man, I completely agree. The strikeout tournament's incredible. The match play event of Pinburg is maybe the best tournament that's ever been created for pinball ever in existence. I don't know if you gentlemen have been to Pinburg.
No,
not yet.
You have not played competitive pinball yet.
Nope, we're scrubbies.
Yeah, it's because when you first start that very first day, the Keith Elwins of the world and the freaking like 4-year-olds that their parents bought them a ticket are on the same level that very first day. And what you're doing is you're just getting paired up in groups of 4 randomly. That whole first day, you're battling to put yourself in a division. The next day, you battle through that division to try to get to the finals. And that tournament, more than anything, tells you how good of a pinball player you are. Like, it gives you an actual analytic number. Here is where you belong always and forever. Like, you played, you wound up in the middle of B. You know you're supposed to be in the middle of the B because you started off equal with everyone, and that's where you sort of whittled your way into.
Oh, yeah, I can see that sounds like that could be a lot of fun. And the fact that you can get paired up with people, and it doesn't matter that, I got paired up with, Keith Elwin, and yeah, he won, but I still, I got third, and I got enough points, and I can see where I'm going. And
yep.
That type of stuff.
Yeah, it's really amazing, man. Like, because you will, battle like the monsters of the Midway while you're climbing that hill. But if you lose to them, it doesn't matter. Like, every point does matter, but that one fight really doesn't like change your outcome as long as you can play well in your other bouts. Because if you get really demolished in that one matchup, you move on to people that also got destroyed. So you now have a chance to battle those people that you might be a little better than, and then you move back up. And you just sort of bounce around that area that, you should be in.
I like the sound of that.
Heck yeah, man. It's a lot of fun.
I know Pinburg's on my short list of places. We went to Texas this year. We saw you there.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. I was running around like a madman, streaming everything, and then I did the finals and also qualified for the finals at the same time.
Yeah, now, I think I was on a machine next to you a couple times during qualification, but of course I didn't want to distract you while you were on Star Trek.
I just like swearing and screaming, and
you were pretty mellow, if I recall.
Yeah, I'm a pretty mellow player for sure.
I've been working hard between this podcast and one of our big tournament venues is in a pizza place, and I'm a blue collar worker, and I've got blue collar worker language. So I work very hard to hold back from it, but still every once in a while you get there where you just turn around and you're just it comes out, especially when you get a really cruddy like outlane drain that shouldn't have happened type stuff.
You got to do what the sharps do if they're not really feeling the urge to like swear in front of a bunch of kids or an audience. They'll just go to the machine that's next to them that's hopefully vacant and just shake the crap out of that pinball machine. It's amazing because you'll see them play and they'll just jump over to the machine next to them and just tilt the crap out of the machine next to it just to get that like anger out so you can walk away feeling sort of redeemed that you got to hit a game even though it wasn't the machine that screwed you.
That's not a terrible
I don't know.
idea.
That sounds violent. I don't know. It seems awfully violent for me.
Occasionally, you need to embrace the inner rage. I know there's times where I turn away from a machine and it's just like, ah!
Yeah, just super Saiyan walking away.
No, I typically try and do just really dumb sayings. Like sometimes I'll have an outlane drain and I'll just go, "Oh dear, oh my."
Willikers.
Yeah. Now, one time I did for a while, I started swearing in French. And I don't really know French, so maybe those aren't really swears. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's like, but I'm thinking no one knows what I'm saying.
Why do I keep yelling soup in French? I don't understand.
Yeah. Bagel. Another format that I thought I'd throw out that I've only played in once competitively, but I really enjoyed it, was pin golf.
Ooh, yeah, pin golf's a lot of fun. Because it's like depending on what they've picked for goals on the machine, you're not really playing to beat other people. You're more playing to beat the objective.
Right. It's like you're playing the machine but in mind also trying to be aware of, just how well other people are beating the machine or not beating the machine, depending.
Right. Because it's not like, say for instance, you're on World Cup Soccer and the whole is to get like 3 goals, right? It's just how many balls does it take to get those 3 goals, and hopefully you could do it on 1 ball. I would imagine you could do it on 1 ball for everybody, but like no one's going to get a better 3 goals than you on that game, So it's you're playing the machine, not the people standing next to you. Now, if it's a score based thing, you want to hope that you can get it in like the amount of balls that, the least amount of balls, because it is like each ball is a stroke, and you're trying to get your birdies and your eagles and all that fun, goofy stuff. I don't understand golf at all. I'm just saying words I heard before.
Yeah. It's I went and I've played golf once, and I lost the feeling in my thumb for half a year, so I never went back.
Yeah, fair. Yeah.
But the time I did it, we did a whole, I guess, round under score-based, and we did a round under objective-based play.
Nice. I like the objectives, I think, more when it comes to pin golf. It changes the way you play pinball.
Yeah, it was really, that one was interesting because everyone knows how to score points, but when it got to the objectives, we'd have to get in a group and people would be explaining to you the ways you could achieve the objective. And even in our little sets, people would high five each other if they actually did a hole in one. And
it's amazing.
And there was a lot of camaraderie to it versus what I normally see, like in the strikeout format, where you're just like, oh, come on, you need to get third. You need third. I need second.
Because in pin golf, it's not like an immediate competition with the people you're grouped up with necessarily, like when you're playing someone for score and you're standing back and you have 30 million and you're watching some dude climb from like 22, 26, 28, 31. The entire time you're sitting there and everyone can say they don't, but you're sitting there going, oh, just drain your freaking ball. Just train. And, that's not like super positivity, but when the only goal is to, start that multi-ball, and that's the objective. When you do it, everyone's cheering because it doesn't freaking matter. You did it. High five. Let's all hug and, smack each other.
Yeah.
So I've never played in a pen golf, but it sounds awesome.
Dude,
it
it's
sounds
so
like
cool.
It's a great little, very social tournament format.
It's so unique. It's out of control. Yeah, they really found out how to keep something competitive really, really friendly.
Okay, so it sounds like we're all in agreement. Herb sucks. Papa's awesome. Pin golf is fun, and so are strikeouts.
Yeah.
And I've got one more tournament that was it was a special tournament that we played at Pinnapalooza, and it was a survival tournament.
Oh, yes.
And it was 36 players. I had to call it up to make sure there were 36 of us playing in it. And what it literally was is they just chose machines, and the lowest scoring person on that machine was dropped. And then everybody, and it took forever. I mean, it was very time consuming, and it required a huge number of machines. Luckily, we had like 80 machines to work with.
Dang.
And as you worked through, everybody just played on the machine. Like the first machine was 1 million BC, and then all you had to do was get a higher score than the lowest person. So once you crossed the lowest person, you could just drain and go to the next machine, which was, I don't remember now.
Now, was it the lowest? So this sounds very similar to another tournament I was going to bring up. Is it like two people battle? The person that loses has to stay on that machine. The person that wins gets to move on.
No, it was literally you just play a one-player game. You just play a one-player game, and you rack up the biggest score you can. And there's a list sitting right there that shows all the scores.
Yeah.
And there's normally you highlight the lowest score is highlighted, and the second you cross the lowest score, you're done. Your score gets put down, and then you just drain off. You're done.
Oh, wow.
And the next person comes up, and whoever has the lowest score after that run gets eliminated, and then everybody just keeps moving from machine to machine. Like if you've got the lowest score, you'll just wait and hope somebody gets a lower score than you. I mean, that happened to me on Roadshow. I had a really low score on Roadshow early on. It was like game 3, and I thought I was done. And like an hour and a half later, somebody came up and said, "Hey, so you need to play your game on Roadshow so you can move on because somebody scored lower than me, and I hadn't noticed it because we were running 2 tournaments at the same time. Is how that was running."
That typically doesn't work out well.
Yeah, no, it wasn't bad. Well, the specific tournament we were at, it was a very social, lighthearted kind of thing. So it wasn't. But the survival tournament ran till like 2 a.m. I got eliminated around midnight.
There's one other tournament that I'd like to bring up that I want to encourage everyone to try because it's the most fun you'll ever have playing pinball. It's sort of like pin golf. What you do is you go to each machine that you have lined up. Let's say you have 10 games. Pick an objective or a score-based goal that is moderate to low. All right, and make sure all that information is displayed on each game. Then one person at a time, you stand a person next to a bell. They hit the bell. We start a timer. You run. You have to complete every objective and then come back and hit that bell, and we stop the timer. And you have to try to beat everyone's time. So however you think you can get that one score on this, if you think you have enough points and bonus to move on to the next game, do it. If you don't hit the objective in time, you're wasting time by like having to start a new game. It's called Gauntlet style, and it is the most fun. There is a chance for people to hurt themselves by like tripping and falling, but it's pretty cool.
Okay, that sounds awesome. Mm-hmm. I've never even heard of that before, let alone played in it. But that sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's like
other than the whole running
almost.
Thing. I'm kind of I don't run well.
Right?
But.
Yeah,
well,
that sounds
you don't have to make it like running, but you could put like a bell at the beginning and a bell at the end, and then like when you hit it, that's when you say time, and people have to try to get through all those games as fast, if not faster, than you.
I think they should run. I think it would be fun. We could see some trampoline. There could be chaos. I mean, it'd be basically like there was a big, attack on the city, and everyone's like, "What's going on?"
Yeah, it's like Double Dare, but with pinball.
Yeah,
you got to run across make sure the machines are on opposite sides of the room. Put a rope wall between them.
Some barbed wire you got to climb under. I think we got this.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we went through all the competitive formats we wanted to, so let's go to the next pinball topic, which is there is a new remake happening. This was announced earlier in I guess last week now that we're on Sunday, but that PPS would be making a remake of Cactus Canyon.
That is awesome. Now, is it my buddy EP the Geek up in Wisconsin was the guy that did the code for Cactus Canyon Continued. Is it going to be Cactus Canyon Continued, or is it like the original Cactus Canyon that is unfinished?
It's not going to be unfinished, but I don't know. Is the short answer. So from what I read is I was wondering, I'm curious if it will have Cactus Canyon Continued software, which I have not played. I've heard very good things about it.
It's so good.
They PPS has indicated that it will have extended code. So it's not going to be the original incomplete code, but they didn't say they would be using the CCC code.
Rock and roll. I'm over the moon about this. I think this is awesome because I can't find that game anyway.
I played a lot of it at Texas. They had one or two of them set up there that I played several times. It's a lot of fun. I didn't expect when I think about remakes, Cactus Canyon wasn't exactly the first game in my head for a remake coming out.
Right.
I would think, something maybe with a bit higher popularity, but it's not a bad game. I enjoy it. So,
well, is Cactus Canyon's popularity low? You think because they didn't produce so many of those games? Because I know, like it being a low number run of machines, I'd never seen that game before until I went to the Papa facility.
That could very well be it because it is a fun. It is a fun game. It's got a fun theme, and I mean, so like I said, the only times I've played it is on Pinball Arcade,
yeah,
and when I played it in Texas, and I enjoyed it both times I've played it.
Yeah, the one they had at Texas was so pretty.
Mm-hmm.
It was in perfect condition, man. That was a gorgeous game.
Yeah, I think you're right, Jack, about the low unit count because I believe they only made 903. So a lot of people never experienced it. I mean, even I didn't wait in line and play it at Texas, so I still haven't played an actual physical Cactus Canyon. I've only ever experienced it virtually.
Oh, a TPA, yeah. It's a lot of fun. It was actually in one of my banks at Pinburg, and thankfully I didn't have to go first, and I got to watch someone play it because I do not know the rules on that game.
But like with Tony, I do agree. I would have, other than the rarity, which I think is why it was selected, I would have thought from a popularity standpoint, Monster Bash or Attack from Mars would have been more logical picks.
I think that was like speculation for a very long time that it was going to be Attack from Mars or Monster Bash. I mean, honestly, I'm sure those are on their radar for sure. they have to be. I
would love for an Attack from Mars to be somewhere in a price range that I might be able to get someday. I mean, that's like my favorite game, or darn near my favorite game.
I could see Monster Bash maybe being a humongous licensing issue, but Attack from Mars, man, there's, there isn't like iconic, like Universal Pictures monsters all over the thing.
That's true, and I hadn't thought about the licensing issue, but for anybody other than like Stern's reissue, I mean, they did Iron Man, and then they did the complete recover of Spider-Man.
Yep.
And what's the rumor now is that they're going to do Batman as Batman 66. That's the rumor out there now?
That I mean, I could only assume. I don't know why Adam West would be coming to that Stern.
That was my thought.
Party to hang out, which I will be emceeing, by the way, folks. If you're going, I'll see you there.
Awesome.
I don't know nothing about nothing.
I'm not saying nothing, Muggsy. I'm not saying nothing. You can't make me talk.
No one leaks anything on this show. It's so sad. I don't know why anyone listens.
We'll get there.
Okay.
It's a slow build.
Overall, everyone sounds pretty pleased with the choice. So good. Cool.
Oh, I love the idea. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. I just like the whole remastering, remaking of games, period. Because like Medieval Madness is a wonderful game, as much as I hated it when I first started playing it until I got to know it. But I mean, all these games they're older and they're hard to get and their prices are shooting up, but you'd still like to have them. And I know some people are very much, well, I don't want a remake in my collection, but I mean, I'm one of those people that'd be like, I don't care. Is it a remake? That's fine. It's still the game. That's all that matters to me.
You're still getting a Medieval Madness. Why? Yikes.
So,
well, for our final pinball topic, we wanted to cover WatchMojo's top 10 pinball machines, which recently came out on YouTube, and we'll have a link to that in the show notes. Just a quick summary, the top 10 list was number 10 was Pinbot, number 9 was Ripley's Believe It or Not, number 8 was The Addams Family, number 7 was Funhouse, number 6 was Revenge from Mars, number 5, The Black Knight, number 4, Tales of the Arabian Nights, number 3, Theater of Magic, number 2, Black Hole, and number 1, Medieval Madness. So, I guess let's get going. What does everyone think of this list?
I don't like this list. And in fact, the honorable mentions that they had at the end of the video were just like, why the hell were these not in the list? Yeah, it's like Twilight Zone, Williams Indiana Jones. You're like, why are these? Whatever. It's infuriating. Yeah, Twilight Zone for me, honestly, Twilight Zone would be up there with like number 2, number 1. Like that game has everything you could need in a pinball machine. It has everything.
Yeah, it's an amazing game.
Yeah,
but I think that could pretty much be said for almost everything in this list. Is, well, that's fine, but why is this over that? Why would Revenge from Mars be over like Attack from Mars?
Oh, I'll tell you.
Why is Black Knight over Black Knight 2000? I mean,
fun. Okay, I'll say some a little blasphemy here in pinball. I think Addams Family is a very overrated pinball machine.
That's not blasphemy on this podcast.
It is overrated. It's a 2-shot pinball machine. If you ripped the theme off of there and showed that to people would be like, oh, this game's all about shooting the chair and then the ramp over and over again. Yeah, I'm not sold. But because it's Addams Family and stuff, it's fun, it's quirky, it's got, the flippers snap for you and stuff. Thing comes out and takes the ball. But on a competitive, like just playing it for points level, it is a snooze machine, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I think Addams Family is one of those perfect games where the theme matches up, and it's the theme that really makes that game.
Yeah.
Because of how it plays and the way they did it. And I mean, nobody thinks about those movies anymore. I doubt a lot of younger people have even seen those movies, let alone the original TV show.
Yeah.
But the pinball machine is everywhere, and it's their
highest grossing. I think it's the most sold pinball machine, or something along those lines. It's like the best seller of all time. Yeah. Yeah. That's why everyone says that's their favorite machine, because that game was everywhere. So when you have a memory of playing a pinball machine when you're a kid, exactly. It's like, that was my favorite. What else have you played? I don't know. Yeah, so it's going to be Addams Family.
I was surprised at the 2 J-pop games in the list, and listeners of the show know that I'm not a fan of Theater of Magic, but I was really surprised it was in here and was put a rank ahead of Tales of the Arabian Nights.
There's actually 3, because they put Cirque Voltaire in the honorable mentions, too. And of the Pinbot trilogy, I think Pinbot might be my least favorite. I
think it's the weakest of the 3.
Yeah.
I like all 3 games, but Pinbot's the weakest of the 3.
Jackpot is my jam. And Bride of Pinbot is good, but with that 2.0 kit installed in it, that game is a masterpiece.
I saw one in Texas that had that installed, and it was beautiful.
My only issue with Bride is the unbalanced scoring if you don't have the 2.0 install, so of the base games, I think it's the weakest of the 3.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Ripley's only gets a pass from me because I am a sucker for Very Targets, and that one has a very prominent Very Target on it.
I've never played one. I've never even seen one. It's
on the Pinball Arcade, for sure.
Is it? I've only...
Yeah,
I'll have to go through. It's probably one of the many, many games on Pinball Arcade that as I'm scrolling, I'm like, no. Ooh, Whitewater.
There you go. Oh, man. It has everything. Yeah, it has everything. It's got Very Targets, spinners, magnets, ramps, just like anything you could think of pinball related, they threw it on that game.
Twilight Zone's a great game. I played one. I've played one once in person. I've actually played one, and like the very first time I played it, it was just basically me going, I don't even know where to look. I don't know what I'm doing, but this table looks awesome. Yeah. And then you play it a second time, and you play it a third time, and you're something like, wow, I've played this game like 6 times in a row. I should probably let somebody else play.
The third machine we ever got for our studio collection was a Twilight Zone, and we had that thing for about 5 years before we gave it back to its owner, and just absolutely love that game.
So we all agree WatchMojo's list sucks.
Okay, well, we've covered everything we plan to talk about in pinball, so now Jack actually gets to enjoy the other aspects of this show, which are not about pinball, but about other types of gaming. And so our second segment is always our video game segment, or almost always. And today it's only and entirely all about Overwatch.
Bum, bum, bum.
That's right. A game that I have watched, but I have not played myself. So
you're missing out,
Jack, buddy. I've added it to the wish list. I got a birthday coming up. I've added it. I got it there listed. I'll be like, you know what? I'll partake of the Overwatch. But not yet.
You said yourself that you are a console gamer more than a PC gamer, correct?
That is correct.
Now, I am so hopelessly addicted to this game that I have it on PC at work, but I don't have a PC at home. I have all Macs there, and this game does not run on a Mac. So I bought it for the PS4, so I had some way of playing Overwatch even when I'm at home.
I can understand that.
So you and Tony would be of agreement that Overwatch is it's a moderately decent game.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's all right.
All right. Okay, well, let's go ahead and actually do what we would call a deep dive on the topic. And I'd say for the listeners, let's go ahead and start with your favorite things about the game in general.
Ooh. Well, I'll start us off. I'm a big fan of FPSs. I played a lot of like Battlefield and Call of Duty and stuff, just tinkering around. And I've always wanted one of these games where it's just, it feels sort of like, oh God, I don't know how to explain it. I like that every character is different, because when you play other FPSs, everyone is human guy with machine gun shooting at other person. But because of the complexities and the diversities of all the characters in this game, it really changes the way you have to think about how you're going to attack somebody. For instance, there's characters that have turrets, so you'll see the dude running around, and your instinct is to run after him and shoot him, but he's probably baiting you over there so that his turret can shoot you. Or, and it's got, this game has healers in a first-person shooter, which is very unique. So you could just be trying to kill somebody while you have this Anna character who's a sniper, but she only snipes healing, which is crazy. Anyway, sorry, I can go on tangents all day on this game.
Oh, yeah, no, easily with this game.
Yeah.
Well, Tony, what are your favorite parts?
I played a lot of Team Fortress 2.
Oh, there you go, man.
And I loved Team Fortress 2. And then this game took everything, like Blizzard tends to do with a lot of games, is they took everything about Team Fortress 2 and the games kind of like it and just made it better.
Yeah.
Because that's what Blizzard does, is they take things that other people have done and perfect it.
Yes, they do.
And the way the heroes interact, the way the heroes have different personalities. And even though for some reason, it's not in the game at all, but the lore and background of all the heroes and characters and everything is awesome. They make their animated shorts they make
are
so
good.
Amazing.
The Bastion one. Oh.
The Bastion one, like it brought a tear to your eye watching the Bastion one.
What's great is right when that Bastion video came out, essentially Bastion is this robot. He's like a sentient robot that could turn into a giant machine gun, okay, and just plows people down. Bastion is the last of these robots that were built. They were like war machines that were told to go just kill things. This video was Bastion is like woken up by this bird, and he comes alive and he starts having like these commands going off, like go to this city and kill people. But like this bird keeps distracting him and he's like having a good time. Anyway, regardless, when this video came out, you're like, oh, it's so sad. I love this robot. The second I logged in to play Overwatch, someone played Bastion, and everyone in chat is like, no one's allowed to shoot Bastion. If he wants to kill you, let him do it. Like he's the last of his kind. We love this guy. Just let him do his thing. It was like you just run in, shoot everybody, see Bastion, get killed, and it was just, it's heart-wrenching.
Yeah, well, Blizzard's always done good animation stuff, and all the Overwatch animations are a lot of fun, but the Bastion one was it was the most heart-wrenching piece of animation, animation I've seen in forever.
It was beautiful.
I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, my wife's not a gamer, and she watched that video and enjoyed it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. So the game's essentially what I also like about this is the game it's not just like here's all the characters to go kill each other. It's broken into categories. So you got like your attack class, your defense class, your healing class, your sort of like overarching support class, and
tanks.
Yeah, exactly. So, a good composition of a team will be like one tank, maybe 3 DPS, a healer, and like a support character, or however you want to set it up. And there's all these maps depending on if you're attacking, if you're defending, you want to change up your comp, change up who you're playing. I'm very into the idea of like taking a character that people think is the worst and trying to excel and destroy people with it, because it just is the most embarrassing in the world when the character you know is the worst takes you out in a game.
Which character do you think is the worst?
I love that Salt Moon. So I used to think Zarya was garbage. Like, I didn't understand her. I didn't know how to play her. I thought she was trash. Through some changes, they made her really good.
Yeah, she's amazing now.
No one ever plays Symmetra. I never see anyone play Symmetra, ever.
You know, Symmetra is one of my lowest time played. I played her yesterday and I got play of the game and did some amazing stuff with her, and I don't know where it came from.
No one's playing her. And so I immediately latched onto her. She's a character that she's a support class, sort of a healer, but she doesn't heal. What she does is puts a very small shield on all of her teammates, which does almost nothing. But her thing is she has 6 little robot turrets that shoot laser beams at people if you come close. So you're sort of like setting traps. And what that does is it creates like a very situational, like, you don't run in and just start blasting people. You have to like bait people into rooms and stuff like that. And I don't know. If I'm attacking, defending, I don't care what I'm doing. That character is who I'm playing. I don't care if my team is screaming at me. They'll understand once I get play of the game with that character.
Yes, Symmetra is one of those characters that if I see her run out of a tiny little room,
you don't go
unless I've got explosive, I do not go in that room.
No, you do not go in there.
Nope, it's off.
She's amazing at defending. If you're on a defense map where you can like turtle up and just put those little turrets everywhere, man, it just, not only are they hurting people, but they also send off a beacon to let you know where someone's coming from, because it creates a little icon of all your turrets in the world that sort of sit on a HUD, and they'll start blinking if they're attacking something. So you'll know, like, if you're in voice chat, be like, all right, coming from the left side in that room, there's at least one person that's getting attacked by something, so run in there and just start spraying.
Yeah, and her attack is really good because it'll penetrate Reinhardt's shield.
Oh yeah, it just locks on.
Shield and stuff. It's just a lock on continuous beam attack.
Yeah.
The problem is it's super short range.
Yeah.
But it hits. But she's also got, you can charge it up and the shot will get more powerful and it'll shoot it. It's a very slow moving shot that just kind of tracks across. But if it hits anybody, it does massive damage, and it penetrates straight through everybody's shields. It ignores shields.
She's also got that beam that she just holds down and it like grabs somebody and she can just lock it onto them, run around them in a circle, and it eventually just kills them.
Yeah, that's my preferred way of taking out tracers, because freaking tracers.
She can't zip around you. She's like lassoed essentially. Mm-hmm. Zenyatta was another character that I thought was pretty weak, but through some changes recently has turned into a very serious competitor. If he puts that Discord thing on you and headshots you, it's like 2 shots and you're dead.
Oh yeah, it's I've died to a lot of Zenyatta,
and that's a healer that is killing.
Yeah, I've been building some time up on Zenyatta more. My primary play has been Junkrat's my boy.
Oh, dude, he's just spraying grenades everywhere.
I know, I still love the heck out of Junkrat. I get so many plays of the game with Junkrat, and he's so much fun to just bounce off a wall. It's like some of the old days where it's like, oh, I know there's somebody in this room. I'm going to stand beside the wall and bounce them off the wall so it bounces into the corner.
So good.
I love that stuff. But then, like in the exact opposite, like my number 2 most hours played is Lucio. Because Lucio is just amazing.
Yeah.
He's OP. He's like the most OP guy who doesn't come off as OP because it's like, oh, no, I didn't get the most kills, and no, I didn't cause the most damage.
He's a healer that doesn't need to focus on healing because just playing the character is healing people.
Yeah, he's just a giant AoE heal of perfection, and he's so fast.
Yeah. He can wall ride. He has most of the kills I've seen from him is him like baiting people to an edge and doing this like short range blast that just shoots people backwards. Mm-hmm. Doesn't really do a lot of damage, but if it knocks you off the map, you are just toast.
And it doesn't matter who you are. Oh, yeah, I love Lucio. And on escort maps, he's so perfect because you literally just skate around and jump all over the thing, and it just keeps going. It's not uncommon to go, oh, yeah, I had 1 death, and I did like 7,000 healing, and I had 3 minutes and 45 seconds of objective time because I just stood on the payload.
So would you both say that, or are you both in agreement that Lucio's the most overpowered character currently?
Oh man, I don't know.
I mean, his healing is strong. It's AoE healing.
It's pretty ridiculous.
It's just hard to call him OP because he doesn't get on the kills, but he supports the team so perfectly. He's like a perfect support character.
If I had to say OP characters, it's between Hanzo, McCree, and Genji.
Yeah, I have 0 minutes of Genji time. I won't play him.
Here's the deal. Genji he's a hard character to play, but when you get a decent grasp on how to play Genji, you just destroy everybody. The dude can reflect ults back at people. You know, he can, it's the most, like, he can climb up walls. He could, like, dash through people.
Double jump.
Yeah, if people shoot at him, he reflects the bullets back at him. It's ridiculous.
Tony, why won't you play him? He sounds awesome. Why won't you play him?
That's why. He's just
What's wrong with you?
He's just something about him just annoys the crud out of me.
Yeah.
I was playing last night, and the guy on there was a Genji on the opposing team, and he took like 4 gold medals. He had most kills, most damage, and most objective kills, I think is what it was on his, I'm sure what it was. But, cause it's not like he can heal, but geez, he was, every time I turned around, I think I died to him more than anybody else. And he had play of the game. He team killed our entire team with his ultimate as we were all running up. We were playing Dorado, and we were on attack, and we were all on the payload, and you hear his little freaking sounder, and everyone starts looking around. It's too late. He's falling down from above on top of us, and half of us are dead before we know what's going on.
So his ultimate is very short range. Like, he's got to be really close, but when he swings, you're dead. Like that. That's the end of you. You're just done.
I think like Reinhardt and Roadhog might survive a single hit from him, maybe.
Yeah,
and that's it.
Yeah,
everybody else is dead.
Roadhog's a pretty messed up character because he has this hook move that grabs you and pulls you to him, and then so what people do is they'll hook somebody. You could be at full life. He'll hook you, pull you in, shoots you once in the head. You're done. It's 2 button clicks. You just kill the character.
Yeah.
Scorpion wins, I see.
Yeah, absolutely.
And all you have to do is you throw the hook out and you hold down the fire button because you can't fire until the animation's done. And you just make sure you're aimed at their head. And he's got a shotgun, so it just has to be kind of on the head. And anybody other than a tank is done.
Yeah.
It's so great when you see somebody healing and you pull them over. Now, I did see a video the other day. A diva had launched her suicide bomb into the middle of the group.
Oh, yeah.
And the team's Roadhog jumped off or down into the well because it was the map with the well in the middle where you're controlling the area. And as he jumped in the well, he threw the hook, grabbed the exploding mech, and pulled it down with him so none of his team died. I was like, oh my God, that's amazing.
How do people think of that stuff, man?
I don't know. I would never thought of hooking and trying to pull one out of the way. I played Roadhog some last night, and I unsuccessfully did it. But I hooked one and I tried to pull it into a side room, and it exploded before it got to the side room. But it was like, wow, that's an amazing idea, because Diva's like she was terrible when the game launched, and they buffed her, and now she's everywhere and awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
But she's that suicide bomb attack that can just wipe out an entire team. And it's like, well, you have to run and get something between you and the explosion. And you can't just run away from the explosion, because if you run away from the explosion, you can't get far enough.
Yep, that's true. You have to be around a corner or something.
Yeah, it's, I mean, even if you, depend upon where it is, you can even like be on the side of the payload and be okay.
Oh, man.
But
on an escort map that I was playing 2 nights ago, we had a comp where we had a Reinhardt sitting on the front of the car. We had a Bastion sitting on top of the car. We had a Torbjorn with his turret on the car. We had my Symmetra with her turrets all on the car. And I think we had like a Winston or maybe a Zenyatta. And Reinhardt just stood in front of the payload with his shield on, so nothing could get killed. And this was just like this monstrosity death machine that was just killing anything that decided to pop its head out. And I was laughing my butt off the entire time, because no one could even come and like say hi. You didn't even see people's faces; they were just like melted instantly. Because this Reinhardt character, he's a tank. He has this giant sort of like ethereal shield that pops up in front of him, and nothing can penetrate that. But you could shoot through it if you're your own teammate, and you just melt everything.
Yeah, that shield takes like 2,000 damage.
Yeah.
So the only thing I've seen is I saw a rig like that set up once where they were coming along, and we had 3 Bastions.
Oh, there you go.
And his shield lasted a quarter of a second.
Yeah, just melt it. Yeah, because what's great about this game also is if you see something like that, let's say you're running around and you're a Reaper and you're like, okay, here comes this death trap. You can run back to your spawn area, change your character, which is unique as heck. Come back out and you're like, okay, now I'm this character situationally, just so like I'm fairer now, so I can just like launch some rockets at you to start knocking stuff off. Then go back, change into something else, then start running around doing your thing. Maybe your Tracer, drop into a Mercy to heal someone for a little bit, then go back, come back, and it's awesome. And that's
that's probably one of my biggest annoyances about the game is you get a lot of people who like, it's like, okay, this is not working. We are getting our butts kicked. We have to change our layout. And there's people like, no, man, I main this character.
So like, I'm Hanzo all day. Yeah, well, guess what? You haven't done anything, buddy.
It's not working, so you need to be somebody else. Now, I had a game last night that was, we won. It was Hollywood. We were defending. But it was the most annoying match I've ever had. The opposing team had 1 Mercy and 5 Mays.
Oh my god! So it's just ice walls everywhere.
Ice walls everywhere. I mean, we were fighting and we were changing characters, and I mean, we won. We kept them from going. They were going slow, but it was just the most annoying match because it's like, oh, I'm frozen. Oh, there's ice walls. Oh, I'm frozen. Oh, I'm frozen and on an ice wall.
Does Maze ice wall stop a payload from moving?
The payload will go through the ice wall.
Okay, I was going to say that'd be a pretty OP thing to just have like all maze to stop a payload from going anywhere.
Yeah, no, the payload will just plow straight through it. It won't even slow down. But they were throwing up. I mean, every time somebody ulted, they throw up. I was playing Soldier 76.
Yeah,
and I flanked around to jump behind, and I jumped behind them, ulted, and opened fire, and I took out their Mercy. And 3 of them turned, and they threw ice walls all the way across. So the rest of my ult was gone. It was wasted because I couldn't get through the walls and I couldn't get around them.
Yeah, and your ult is essentially like you shoot, but you don't miss, but you do need to actually shoot.
Right. Yeah, I still have to actually hit them because Soldier 76's ult is basically an aimbot that lasts for a few seconds.
Okay.
And it's just like, oh, okay, well I just wasted my whole ult.
Yeah.
So it was just one of the most frustrating matches. Like I said, we won. They didn't even make it halfway. But we won, but it was like, when it ended, it's just like, I never want to do that again. Yeah. That was horrible. I was like frozen half the time.
So as things currently stand, as of the latest version of the game that you all are playing, what is the worst character? What's the one that needs balancing still, I would say? The one that you just won't play. Not because of Genji bias, but rather because of you don't think it's effective.
That's a good question. I think everyone has had some decent tweaks done to them. I know Symmetra has never been touched. In fact, on the council side, they actually made her turrets weaker because people weren't quick enough to respond to like turn around and shoot stuff with a controller. She definitely needs some love because her ultimate is creating a teleporter that allows people when they spawn to show up wherever you drop this teleport. But it's it's a good asset. It definitely needs something else, but her shield that she puts on people it's like a throwaway. It's garbage. It does nothing.
It stops like one round.
It does absolutely nothing. Yeah, if one bullet hitting you, you're gonna lose that shield and part of your life. It does almost nothing. Other than her, I'd say I don't know. I haven't seen a lot done with Pharah.
Pharah's pretty solidly balanced, I think. I mean, she came out of the gate. Yeah, she came out of the gate pretty balanced. Yeah, she's not OP and she's not exceptionally weak. I know their first big swing of the nerf bet was McCree, who needed it because when the game launched, McCree was stupid OP.
Yeah. He's the cowboy character that if he runs up to you, he could stun you, shoot you 6 times really quick with one button click and you're dead.
Yeah. He was taking out tanks like that with a single round. So they nerfed him out and he's more balanced. He's still
really strong, but he's like not as bad as he was. Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely not the, oh, look, there's a McCree, I'm angry. And I don't know, they've done a pretty darn good job balancing. There's not any characters anymore like there was when it first launched, where when you see that character, it's like, well, we have to build around this character and locking that character down. It's not, I mean, because originally Bastion was OP, but now it's easy to get around Bastion. I mean, it's not easy, but I mean, you can deal with a Bastion without.
Fair.
Yeah.
It's right.
Okay.
Yeah, looking at the list, I think I think it's all pretty balanced.
Okay. Well, let's move over into modes then. I've heard you both talk. I wondered what you thought was the best mode. My guess from your discussions would be payload, because that's what you both have been mostly talking about. But I do know that there's also zone capture and escort.
Well, the escort and payload are the same thing.
Yeah.
Are they? Okay.
Honestly, I don't think I like payload. I just end up like whenever I play a map, for some reason, I'm always in a freaking payload mode.
Well, I think there's slightly more. The thing is I think there's a couple more payload maps, and several of the games are the first stage is zone capture and the second stage is payload.
Right. Yeah. I think I'm definitely a fan of zone capture. I like it where you're not attacking or defending. It's both of you rushing a point and trying to hold it.
Yeah.
Like if you're on defense, you know what everyone's going to pick. If you're on attack, you know what everyone's going to pick. But when it's everyone rushing the point, you have to decide like, all right, are we going to go in guns blazing and then try to turtle up? Or are we going to go in there with some like heavy defense characters and hopefully we can take it and start putting up our defenses with like Torbjorn and Symmetra's turrets and such. It's a fun gamble for sure.
Yeah, I think the zone definitely seems to be more of a active play style, as in changing. I think changing your characters are more important in zone based upon what you have. If you have control of it, it's better to have some more defensive characters, where if you're attacking, you definitely need a more offensive bent or more tanks.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense to me. I'm more of a Battlefield player in terms of my shooter background, and the most popular mode and my favorite mode in that is Conquest, which is essentially zone capture, and the second most popular is Rush, where you have attack and defense. Different teams doing whatever, and that usually flips for the next game. So yeah, conceptually, I would have thought zone capture. It's just I noticed a lot of instances of discussing payload were coming up, so I wasn't sure what ones you actually preferred. So you both like zone capture.
There's a lot of payload maps, and I think some of the funnest maps are payload maps, I can't think of the name of the map now, but it starts out zone capture and it's Hollywood. It starts out zone capture and then it turns into payload.
It becomes, while you're playing, it becomes
while
payload.
You're playing it.
Yeah.
I like that one. And several of the zone when the zone captures, there's several zone captures where there's one zone and you're capturing it, but there's also attack and defense ones that don't have a payload, like a Volskaya, where you have to capture a zone and then you go on and capture another zone.
You just keep pushing. Yeah, there's like two zones, so you just got to push past them all, or 2 or 3 zones.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, actually, this is a great thing to move on then, because I was curious in terms of maps. Like, what map or maps do you guys think are the best? And are there any maps that you think are bad, like bad layout, or you just don't like playing them for some other reason?
Oh, man.
I like Volskaya.
Yeah.
Volskaya I really like Volskaya. It's got like 2 choke points, but there's ways around the choke points, so that's not super tight.
Whenever I get destroyed, it's always on Temple of Anubis. That map always screws me. I
think Temple of Anubis, the final zone in Temple of Anubis I think it's a little too defender pro.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it sort of funnels people in, and then you just sort of lay waste to everybody.
Yeah, I mean, because I've seen several where 1 or 2 Shornborns or a Bastion can pretty much make that unbeatable, no matter who you change to or the strategies you use, short of, I know I've gone through it a couple times where it's been like, okay, we know where the Bastion is. I will take Farah. I will jump up and I will wail on the Bastion from above, and you guys try to get in while he kills me, and hopefully I can take him out or damage him enough that you guys can get in and finish him and try and hold the point.
Yeah. Volskaya definitely. Oh, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. Yeah, Volskaya definitely, like you mentioned before, super, super fun map. Moving platforms.
Oh yeah.
Just the great thing about the moving platforms, plant some turrets on top of that thing. Now you have like these roving guns that just start taking people out as they're cruising around the map.
Oh yeah, I love Volskaya. I think Volskaya might be my favorite.
Yep, I you know what, looking through these, like Ilios is fun. Lijiang Tower is okay.
I like Lijiang Tower as Lucio because there's so many options to blow people off the ledges.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Nepal gets me a little butthurt sometimes, but I think Volskaya wins.
Nepal. My big issue with Nepal was until I found all of the flanking spots, it was my least favorite.
Well, it's because you're like, once you get inside of that building, you're fodder. You're just in the middle waiting to get shot in the head.
But it's got its moments, and some of its flanking stuff helps out a little, but it's still probably, if not my least favorite, it's one of my least favorite.
Yeah.
Have you played the new map yet on the PTR?
No,
I have not.
The castle that's sort of like an homage to Dark Souls.
Yeah, it's kind of it's going to be kind of the big super German themey thing.
Yeah. Is that supposed to be like Reinhardt's place or something like that?
It's one of the cities where the Crusaders, like Reinhardt, were based and stuff, is from what I've seen. I've only seen a couple pictures of it. I haven't. Yeah. I haven't played on the PTR.
I watched a lot of PTR play of that map, and it looks pretty cool. The reason I love Blizzard is when they make stuff, it's damn near perfect, and they love to keep adding things. So, the characters we have now, I'd say in a year, we're going to have like at least 6 more.
I know there's at least, because isn't Sombra, they're dropping hints about Sombra coming?
Doomfist, which was like if you watch the very first cinematic that ever came out about this game, before the game even came out, it was a bunch of people trying to steal Doomfist's fist from a museum. And he is been talked about as a character that's going to be in it as well. So that would be dope. There's just like so much lore in this game, and they've dropped so many little tidbits here and there that there could be another 30 people in this damn game.
Yeah, easily. And as long as they keep them balanced, it'll be fine.
Yep.
And maybe we'll stop seeing, 5 Genjis and 3 Hanzos.
Now, I think, isn't it in like the competitive and ranked play, are you not allowed to have duplicate characters?
You're not allowed to have more than 2.
More than 2, okay.
Yeah. It's unless they've changed that. When it first launched competitive play, you couldn't have more than 2 characters.
Right on. Because full tracer teams were just murdering everybody.
Yeah, that's a hard one to deal with.
Yeah.
A full tracer team.
Yeah.
I mean,
For you folks that don't know, Tracer is a character that can essentially teleport around the map faster than even your human brain can comprehend. And even when you think you got her pinned down, she can just rewind time and vanish in front of you.
Yeah, it's horribly annoying. She's the cheers, love, the cavalry's here.
Yeah.
Cheers, love, the cavalry's here.
Yeah, from that
all the time. Yeah. And she's kind of become like, I think her and Winston are kind of like the face of Overwatch is how they've laid it out.
Yeah, totally.
You know, Winston could use a little buffing.
Yeah, he could use some work. I mean, I don't see anyone really play him. Actually, I'd say in the last like 20 games of Overwatch I've played, Winston hasn't been on any team, both opposing or on my side.
I play him on a couple of occasions, but it's always for specific reasons. I think Winston is the perfect Symmetra counter.
Yeah, because his lightning will just clear out all those turrets.
Right. And his lightning has the same range as those turrets. So you just hold the button down and it just auto clears the turrets. Yep. And I've used him on occasion for, there's a couple, I can't remember the name of the map. It's, one of the Ilios maps. One or two Winstons actually do pretty good at the zone.
Yeah. Because
you can pretty much hold the shields.
The Lijiang Tower map, the one where it's like that tiny, tight, circular room. If you get a Winston in there, that bubble almost covers like the entire freaking point, and can hold all your folks in there. Works out really well.
Yeah, but for the most part, no. Winston is not a heavy played character. I'd say at this point he's the character I see played the least often, for sure.
Yeah, I would love to be able to see those analytics for these characters.
Yeah, it would be nice. I mean, I know they have it. I know they track it because I went and looked up my analytics for my characters because I'm setting at, let's see, total play time of 54 hours, 16 hours Junkrat because, I just like to.
Yeah.
It's Junkrat. I like spamming explosives everywhere. 12 hours Lucio, 11 hours Farah. Bastion, Roadhog, Soldier, and Reinhardt are all at 2, and everybody else is under an hour.
Yeah, I have a horribly imbalanced number of Symmetra plays versus anyone else.
Well, I actually, when the game first came out, I played Lucio exclusively for like the first month I played.
I think that's what I did too, is like in my mind, I'm like, you pick a character, you get good with it, and that's your character. And it wasn't until, maybe a month or two ago that I really learned to change up who I was playing based on what was happening at that moment.
Yeah, and I really liked Lucio, and in the early game, when the game first came out, nobody ever played healers.
Right. Oh, God, because why wouldn't you? There was no reason to. Yeah, it's like, it's an FPS. I'm just going to shoot people.
Right. So I played, because of my 12 hours of Lucio play, I bet you, I think I got 8 of them in the first month the game was out. Nice. I still go to him constantly. He's my preferred choice for a lot of game modes, but I've been trying to vary it up more. That's why Bastion and Roadhog are getting up there, and Soldier 76 is amazingly fun.
He's the great starter character if you're used to playing Battlefield and stuff. It's like, play this just to get an idea of what the game's like, because you'll be used to this style of play.
Okay. I'll try and start with that one.
Yeah,
I would. That'd be the perfect start. And Reinhardt, I'm playing a lot of Reinhardt lately because I like the whole defensive, hold the shield, protect your team. But then when things get tight, you can really tear stuff up. And a nano boosted Reinhardt is amazing.
Yeah, all the damage.
I had a Reinhardt the other day that I got play of the game because I got nano boosted. I used his ultimate, which stunned 4 people in front of me, and then I just walked up and basically slaughtered the majority of their team.
Jeez.
It was amazing.
I think we've done a very thorough overview of Overwatch, and I know Tony loves Overwatch, and I have totally failed him because I haven't been playing it. So
I'm always willing to talk about Overwatch. We'll play it constantly.
Yes, so it was good. It was really good. So thanks, Jack, because Tony really needed someone to host with us who actually knew what he was talking about, because I don't.
I'll tell you, you won't be disappointed playing it on the console because it exactly the same. It's just I prefer to aim and shoot with a mouse.
Awesome. Well, I'm hoping I'll probably be able to get it by early October. So I'm working on some other stuff right now, but it's now on the short list because you guys have talked it up way too much and you're making me blow all my money that I should be saving for pinball machines.
Too hype.
So you should feel guilty, at least to an extent.
Donate a pinball machine to the Eclectic Gamers podcast.
Yeah. Hey, an Overwatch themed pinball machine.
Let's go.
Oh, there's man.
I think Blizzard needs to get on the pinball train hype. For any IP that they have, I don't care what it is, it would slay 100%.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I mean, between Warcraft and, like Diablo. Oh, a Diablo machine?
Diablo, yeah. Oh, yeah, just imagine you'd be going for all that loot. You'd be dungeon crawling your way through ramps.
It's like choose your class. All right, yeah. The barbarian.
Choose your class.
Have one of the flippers made to look like Wirt's leg.
Oh my god! Inside jokes abound.
Butcher multi-ball. Okay, well, let's go to the third and final segment, which is Tabletop. And Jack, I know you're familiar with a game that I thought we'd go ahead and explore because we've never really talked about social deduction games on the podcast.
Yeah.
And so you play One Night Werewolf, if I'm remembering correctly.
So what's funny about Werewolf is, so I'm a Twitch partner and I go to all these Twitch parties, and my partnership guy, the dude that sort of like makes sure I stay in line and I'm not a ding dong and don't get kicked off the website. When I go to these big meetups, I always find him and he's like, "Hey, we're going to go play Werewolf." And the first time he mentioned this to me, it was like 2 a.m. I'm like, "We're going to go play Werewolf? Is this like Ghost in the Graveyard outside or something? What the hell are you talking about?" And he brings me to a room and there's just a whole bunch of people sitting around a table. He pulls out this box and he starts going through all the stuff. He's passing out cards. He's got an app that does all the reading for you. And I'm looking around and I'm a little hesitant and I'm like, "Oh, this is nerd card game crap." And had maybe the most fun I've ever had at 2 a.m. playing a card game. Werewolf is just all about arguing, and it's incredible.
Yeah, I've played Werewolf several times, and it is an amazing amount of fun. As you said, hey, I'm not a werewolf. I swear to you, I'm not a werewolf. I'm just trying to. It's not me. I'm just the normal guy.
And it's great because, like, the way it's designed, when you saw your card and you knew you were a werewolf, and then everyone goes to sleep, you can only assume that you're still a werewolf because there's cards in the deck that trade people's cards around. There's cards in the deck that are people that are pretending to be werewolves because they want to get killed to screw everyone else at the table. There's it's just such a smart freaking game, and I only get to play it at these conventions because none of my friends want to play because they had the same attitude I did. It's like, why the hell would I want to sit and play this stupid card game with you? But it's like, trust me, you buy this deck, play this thing, it is phenomenal.
Now, you both you've played, I guess, the original One Night Werewolf, right? Where there's there's a moderator and...
Well, the original Werewolf game, yeah.
Oh, okay, Werewolf.
It's like I was trying to do werewolves, a minion, Mason's villagers, that kind of stuff. Okay. Yeah, nothing too crazy.
Because I was trying to do background on it, and the first thing I actually ran across was something called One Night Ultimate Werewolf, which I guess is it's based on this, but it takes about 5 to 10 minutes per game to play.
Right.
Like it's capped at 10, but most games resolve around 5 or 5 to 7, I guess. And it doesn't use a moderator or anything. The game's entirely structured to be self-run. So there's like timers. You use an app on the phone that kind of runs the game for you. The werewolves open their eyes all at the same time during the period where everyone else's eyes are closed. And I guess it's designed to be werewolf, but to flow a lot faster. I don't know. What's the average speed on werewolf?
I'd say you could play a game in about 10, 15 minutes. It depends on, the app I think has a timer on it to like say, all right, arguing stopped.
Right.
Who the hell's the werewolf?
Yeah.
I will say one thing is like, if you can find one, get somebody to help you run this game. The reason being is when there's characters that wake up and you look at each other and there's characters that have to like move cards around and stuff. If you're not a ding dong, you can feel people moving next to you. You could feel the table vibrating. You could feel like you know, if your hands are on the table and all of a sudden you feel like a little brush of the table and stuff, you know, like, all right, the dude next to me is probably a seer because I felt him freaking move. So what I like to do is every time a card is called, I like to pretend to like fidget with stuff to like really mess with people if we don't have a moderator.
That's devious.
Yeah, it's like werewolves look at each other and I'll just start like lightly tapping or brushing the table just to
Every time I've ever played, we've used a moderator, so it's always the moderator does all of that work and make sure there's nobody. Yeah,
it's almost necessary because it's like stupid small stuff like that. You like gives yourself away.
Now, this social deduction games there's a bunch of them out there right now, like Resistance. I've played Resistance a fair amount. It's a pretty fun game. And the big one that's coming out and is really taken off is Secret Hitler.
Yeah, my boys from Cards Against Humanity here in Chicago made that.
That game is amazing.
Yeah, buddy.
I mean, it is. I don't own a copy of it. I need to get a copy of it. But that game is amazingly. It just takes the social deduction game and streamlines it while you get to keep all the fun parts, and you don't have to do nearly as much of the secret hiding eyes closed stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I saw that this was a social deduction game, that's the one that popped into my mind because Tony, you summarized that a few episodes ago for us.
Yeah, there was I don't remember what episode it was, but I remember talking about it. Yeah, because there was there's a group on Twitch that plays it every once in a while, and they'll play with, like 8 people, Secret Hitler or something like that. And I'd watch them play whenever they played.
That might actually be the Cards Against Humanity Twitch stream.
It might have been. I don't remember which group it was because there was a couple different ones I watched over the time. But yeah, that game is a lot of fun. And I first thought when I saw it was because I'd played a lot of Werewolf and I played some Resistance, but it looks like a lot of fun. It's shortlisted for me. I like social deduction games, but the thing is with social deduction games is you have to. I think they're better if you really know the people you're playing with. Yeah,
because you can if one person is treating the game like, what's this dumb nerd stuff, it sort of kills the vibe of the whole arguing system and the whole, playing and bouncing off of each other's stuff. The reason I really like these games is if you don't know how to play, that in itself is a way of playing. Like, if you this is my first time playing, my card said I'm a werewolf. I'm not a werewolf. And people are just pointing fingers at you. You're doing your job. You're not a werewolf. I love the cards that are like the Tanner. He's like a depressed, lonely guy whose only objective is he wants to get killed, and everyone else loses if he gets killed. And it's just, oh god. Anyway, the game is so freaking phenomenal. I'm sitting here looking at the cards, and I'm wishing I was playing this thing right now.
Yeah, I don't. Tony and I, we usually we're at a monthly game night. I don't know if we've ever done a social deduction game though.
We don't because I don't own any.
Oh, well, that would explain it. You need to own one. Get us some werewolves or get us some Hitlers.
Actually, I do own a copy of Werewolf, but there's not enough of us to make Werewolf worthwhile. Typically,
that's true.
Because Werewolf works better with larger groups,
like 30. We need 28 more people.
Yeah, not necessarily that large, but
25.
I have played a 28-player game of Werewolf.
Holy crap. How were you able to get anything done?
We had 2 moderators, and it took forever.
It's like, all right, you shut up. Now it's his turn to yell.
2 moderators solves everything.
Yeah. Holy crap.
Yeah, we had 2 moderators, and it took forever.
You need to definitely pick up Secret Hitler or this Werewolf game, grab a Logitech camera, hook it up to a tripod, and stream that game.
That would be awesome. See, because I've considered doing... There's the tabletop simulator on that, and the people have built modules for games like Secret Hitler and everything else, so you can actually play it. And it's a simulated tabletop that everyone plays on their computer, but you actually move the cards and stuff using your mouse.
Oh, that's awesome. Really?
Yeah. That's great. And there's modules for pretty much every really big popular game out there. There's a tabletop module for it. It's called, I think it's Tabletop Simulator on Steam. But like when I watched people playing Secret Hitler, that's what they were doing. Because, I mean, the people who were playing were like all over the country.
Oh, nice. And
they were using it in... It's a little finicky, but it's Tabletop Simulator.
Awesome. Yeah, I just wrote that down. I'm going to have to check that out.
Because it basically takes it and lets you do streamy stuff for tabletop games when everybody's not in one place.
Not in the same room. Yeah.
So if you and your friends are all over the place, you can do it. There's also lots of different streams that I've seen playing different things using it because it's a table and you can even flip the table. I mean, seriously, there is a flip the table button.
Like, I'm pissed. Flip.
Yeah. Exactly. So it's like a lot of people I've watched play games is like, oh, we lost, flip the table. So like if Dennis ever played Pandemic because he can't win Pandemic, he'd flip the table. Probably before the game started.
You know, this comes up. I don't know why you continue to promote a game that's unwinnable. It's Kobayashi Maru. You might be able to cheat your way to victory, like how you cheat at reading, but there's no winning Pandemic. Well, unless, you're Zika, then I guess you win.
I've won Pandemic. It's winnable. You just have had bad luck.
I don't know. Jack, stay away from Pandemic. Don't.
Gotcha. Stay away from Pandemic.
Stick with your werewolves. Stick with things that can be won, that you can manipulate.
Things that aren't just completely based on luck.
It's not luck. It's just.
It's a well-designed. I mean, Pandemic is a well-designed game because it actually makes you think you have a chance to win, but you don't.
That's awesome.
All right. Well, that's the show. So, our thanks to Jack Danger.
No, thank you for having me.
Actually, real quick before we go, I just realized something. I forgot the question.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no. Okay, well, we're not going to cut it and put it in the front, so it's just going to have to sit right here.
Everyone's going to think they missed it until the end. So Jack, right. I've got my pinball question that I like to ask everybody.
Yeah, what's that?
If you have no worries about licensing, no worries about money or anything like that, you could just make any music pen you wanted. What band would be your music pen?
Beastie Boys, hands down.
Oh, I've never even thought of them.
Yep. They have a lot of iconography. Their songs are known by everybody. It'll start to leach into that sort of like hip hop area that pinball has never touched. I think it's a perfect theme.
Sabotage multi-ball?
Yeah, dude, come on. You can have like a cool police car in there. You can have an airplane that's been crashed into the side of a mountain. Like a sardine can that unrolls to let the multi-ball out. Dude, yes. Stern, get on this right now, please.
That would be amazing. I mean, I've spent a lot of time thinking about bands, and they've never crossed my mind once. But that just seems so obvious.
Yeah, man, they got a lot of good stuff, man. Beastie Boys, let's do this.
It's probably with what Jack pointed out, that hip hop hasn't really been touched by pinball, so it's just not something we naturally move to with our minds.
We've had rock, we've had the country musics. Actually, I think that's about it.
Yeah, pretty much just country and rock.
Yeah. Huh. Hip-hop.
All right.
That wouldn't be bad. Awesome.
Yeah, I'd want to play it. Okay, well, Jack, do you want to plug anything here before we go?
Just check me out on Twitch, twitch.tv/dead_flip. You can go to deadflip.com. It has all the links to all the fun stuff there for social media. And, hopefully I'll see you online.
Yep. And we will, in the show notes, in the links section, just check it out. We'll have a direct link to his Twitch feed, and we'll also have a link so you can listen to THRU if you want to learn more about competitive pinball with some really good pinball players. If you want to reach us here at the show, you can always email us, eclecticgamerspodcast@gmail.com. We're also available on the web, eclecticgamers.com, and active on Facebook, facebook.com/eclecticgamerspodcast. Please remember to give us a rating and review on iTunes. It helps others find the show if they happen to like a diversification of games like we do.
We're also available on Twitter and Instagram as eclectic_gamers. As always, I'm much more active with keeping the Instagram updated than the Twitters.
Oh, that's interesting. You're more active on Instagram than Twitter?
I am. I don't
like
know. I just cannot get myself. Every time I sit down on Twitter and I write something, it's like, oh, okay. Well, I went over by 375 characters. What am I going to do now?
Be less wordy.
Yeah, I have problems with that.
Then you need to get that website. It's called like IFFT or IFFT, whatever. It's if then, whatever. So whatever that is, type that in. What it does is it takes your social media and puts it to other social media. So you're like, if I post an image to Instagram, also post it to Twitter.
Oh, there's an interesting comment.
We use that at work, a similar thing. Where
that's how I keep, like, I have so many social media outlets, I'd lose my mind if I had to do them individually.
Yeah, we use one that at the office where one person does it, and so he tweets all the time. So all of his Twitter posts go onto Facebook, and they also go onto LinkedIn.
If I take a picture on Instagram, it's going to end up on Twitter and Facebook with all the captions that I put on it.
Oh, I definitely need to do that because I do stuff on, like I said, Instagram, like when we're at tournaments or whenever I play a game somewhere or whenever just randomly I take little video clips or pictures or whatever and throw it up there.
Do it.
See, Jack's improving our quality already.
Everything's getting better.
That's right. Well, I'm Dennis, and I'll say goodbye, everyone.
I'm Tony, and Jack, thanks for joining us. Can't wait to talk to you again.
Thanks for having me.